All right, we are talking today about subtracting decimal numbers using zero. Okay, so what we're looking at here is if we had a problem where, let's say we need to do 4/10 and we are subtracting 23/100. We'll just label this number 1 just for the sake of being organized. If we're doing 4/10 and we're subtracting 23/100, we're going to need to fiddle with the numbers a little bit in order to be able to subtract them. So what that's going to look like is, let's stack our numbers just like we always do in subtraction problems, and we need to make sure that we line up our decimal places. So ones place, or we line up our places. Ones place goes with ones place. The 2 and the 4 are both in the tenths place, and then we have this 3 in the hundredths place. So when we say subtracting decimal numbers using zeros, what we're talking about here is if you go through to follow your subtraction, right off the bat you have nothing to subtract 3 from. There's nothing here in the 4/10 number. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a 0 there, because remember, we can add as many zeros as we want to the right of the decimal point without changing the value of the number. So if one of the numbers, if we're working in decimals, and if one of the numbers doesn't have as many places, as many spots after the decimal point, you can add zeros so that they match up. And now we can really think of this as doing 40 minus 23, just for the purposes of thinking through the problem. So we're going to start like we usually would. 0 minus 3, we can't do that, so we're going to borrow from the 4. And then 10 minus 3 is 7. 3 minus 2 is 1. And then I need to put my decimal place lined up right underneath the decimal places in the problem. And then I put a 0 there. And so 4/10 minus 23/100 is 17/100. Okay. Let's do another one. It's an extension of this same problem. If we're looking at example 1. In example 1 it says, and you can follow along in your book on page 665. In example 1 it says, a brand X computer completed a task in 4/10 seconds. A brand Y computer completed the same task in 231 thousandths fewer seconds. What length of time did the brand Y computer take to complete the task? Okay, so what we're looking at is what's the difference between the brand X computer and the brand Y computer. Or we're looking at subtracting to find, sorry, we're not looking at the difference. We're looking at subtracting to find out the length of time the brand Y computer took. So we are doing 4/10 minus 231 thousandths. So we're going to follow the same steps. I'm going to start by writing out my subtraction problem, lining up my places, but again, oops, forgot my line here. I don't have anything to subtract the 3 or the 1 from, so I'm going to add 2 zeros now. That way I have enough places to work with. So now I can do 0 minus 1, 0 minus 3. And in order, oh, pardon me guys, in order to do that, I'm going to need to borrow. There we go. 10 minus 1 is 9. 9 minus 3 is 6. 3 minus 2 is 1, and the decimal point, and a 0. And so brand Y completed the task in 169 thousandths seconds of a second. All right, so let's have you try a couple of those, all right? So I'm going to have you pause the video. Let me find the problems that I want you to do. Let's do lesson practice A and B. So pause the video and do lesson practice A and lesson practice B, and then restart the video to check your work. Alrighty guys, for lesson practice A, we had 3/10 minus 15/100. So we should have started by stacking them. And then again, we have here the no number above the 5, so we're going to add in that 0 there. And then we're going to go through and do our subtraction. And so I'm going to borrow 10 minus 5 is 5, 2 minus 1 is 1, and so we get 15 hundredths. You might have also seen that it's like doing 30 minus 15. I just known it was 15. That works too. All right, for lesson practice B, we have 3/10 minus 25 hundredths. So 3/10 minus 25 hundredths. So we start out stacking the problem. Put a 0 there. And then 3 to 2. 10 minus 5 is 5. 3 minus 2 is 1. And again, wait, what did I do wrong there? 2 minus 2 is 0. Sorry about that, guys. Can you tell I'm tired today? I was like, that can't be right. They can't have the same answer. You should have gotten 5 hundredths, of course, for that answer. I hope you caught my mistake. Or possibly I fixed it so quickly you didn't notice. Let's hope. All right. So just for the sake of making these quicker to load onto YouTube, I'm going to go ahead and stop this video and start a new one, so you can go ahead and go back to Google Classroom and move on to the next video, and we'll wrap this up.